Hey everyone, David Nagel. Welcome to Building the Business of Your Dream. This is our summer series. I hope you're having an absolutely amazing summer. So I want to continue on with this, and I want to move your mind along this journey that we're taking, because what we're going to cover today, the understanding of it can make all the difference between a person who is having amazing success in their life and someone that's just not getting there. Whether the person is struggling or they're having difficulty in something that they're doing, they don't understand strategies. Usually it has a lot to do with money for most people. How do I bring in the amount of money that I need to be able to move the business forward? We're going to talk about some things today that you're going to be very interested in. Hopefully, it's going to give you a bit of a mind breakthrough so that you can understand kind of how the mysteries of the universe work when it comes to success. Because my whole life's been basically dedicated to making these things that seem mysterious, not mysterious, and really understanding what is it that we need to know, be, and do in order to have the life that we truly want to live. So this is the secrets of success, the universe and its laws. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to share something with you out of a book. The name of the book is called Working with the Law. It's written by Raymond Hollywell. I'm going to read this to you, and then I'm going to break this teaching down so that it actually makes sense. Here's what he says. He says, true desire represents the urge of life, seeking the fuller expression, and is kept alive by the continuous expectation of its fulfillment. It brings to us the ways and the means for its manifestations. The principle explains that no desire is felt until the supply is ready to appear, and no mind can be conscious of a need or a desire unless the possibility of its fulfillment already exists. Now, let me bring this over here a little bit. Here's the idea behind this. If you think about what I just read, and of course I suggest that you get the book or listen to this recording several times, that little paragraph is unbelievably profound in its promise to you. I came across it back in the mid-90s, and not only have I been studying it ever since and teaching it ever since, but I've been applying it to my life ever since. And it produces with measured accuracy. I mean, it is astounding once you understand what he's saying here, what it is that you can manifest in your life. And I mean manifest things really fast. Not something that is slow and painful and arduous and you're waiting and wondering if something's going to show up. You start to develop a knowing inside of yourself, because this paragraph is based on the laws of the universe. And I'm going to teach you a couple of those laws today, the ones that are most important for us to understand, because it's the laws that are back of all the decisions that we make in order to produce the results that we want. So I read you the paragraph. Now let's move to something else. This is called the levels of awareness, okay? And what it is basically this. Let each one of these lines represent a different level of your own human awareness. Let me give you an idea of what I mean by that. When we were little kids, there were a lot of things we were not aware of. In other words, things that were around us all the time that we just didn't know. We didn't understand. Objects that parents could have pointed to a child, and because they had never been introduced to them before, they would have no awareness around what they are or what they would do. A little baby doesn't know what a car is. Doesn't know what the potential of a car is, right? Doesn't understand what a pen is. Doesn't understand what the television is. We have to learn, and then we have to apply to become aware and understand what things will actually do. Well, success is the same way, but there's something that's interesting about success that we don't generally find with everything else, and that is you were born to be a success, as I have said before. That direction for each one of our lives is part of our spiritual DNA. It's also part of our physiological DNA. But when you think about it from like, what is my potential in this world in my lifetime, right? In the universe, from a spiritual perspective, is there an actual purpose to why we're here and what we're doing? And I say, yes, there is. There definitely is. Our job in our lifetime is to find out what that is and then follow it. But the problem for most people is that they get way deep into their life and in their 30s and 40s and 50s and 60s, they're still asking themselves, what is my purpose? When this should be something that we discover very early on, probably at the age of 4 or 5, and we're literally able to keep walking down that road aware of what the purpose is and consciously following it and allowing that to expand and bloom and blossom into our life, into something that's absolutely magnificent. As I said, success is your birthright. You were born to be a success. No life was born to fail. All life is born with the intention to succeed. And that doesn't mean that all of it does. But if you really think about it and you put some serious thought into it, you'll become aware that that's an absolutely true statement. If the intention wasn't for me to live fully, then the intention would be for me to not live fully, to suffer, to die, to live a miserable life. No, nothing has that intention. But because human beings have the ability to choose, which is our strongest power, if the information that we're given about life is incorrect, we become the product let's just start there. We become the product of our own suffering. What we don't realize is that we're the one that's causing it. Whether you're doing it intentionally or ignorance doesn't matter. You're so powerful, you have so much potential in you, and the ability to choose between great, amazing, and terrible, that you literally can create your life consciously in either one of those ideas. And people do it all the time. The difference is that most people that are living a life where they're stuck and it's full of problems and they don't know how to earn money and they don't know how to get out of their own way and they don't know how to change things that they're doing that are miserable. I mean, think about how many people go to work every day and they hate what they do. Like if you ask them, listen, if money wasn't an issue, what would you do? They come up with a whole bunch of things that they would do different. But they can't get out of the mindset that they don't have the money or that they have to get the money in only the thing that they are doing because they're not aware that the money is actually all around them and actually easy to bring in. We're going to cover that awareness. Now, the key to this is always two things. And in other seminars, I'll point it out like this. I'll say you need to know two things to succeed. One of those things is where you are. Where you are, right? Where are you in your awareness? You can do this exercise with anything in your life. But because most of the time I'm really teaching people how to earn more money, I would suggest that you start with money on this. It's something that we can all relate to, and it's something that everybody wants more of. So put here your current level of awareness around money. And what is that? Well, it is the amount of your current annual income. So just write that down here. Your current annual income. Put that down on a sheet of paper. And look at it. Don't judge it. The number doesn't matter because there's always more. When I first started doing this, and I was not aware of this exercise at the time, I just want to make that perfectly clear. I started with this idea in mind. Let me take a couple of these off here. My current level of awareness when I started was 20,000. That's where I was, 20,000. Where I wanted to get to was 40,000. That was my goal, 40,000. Now you write down where you are and where you would like to go. And no number is too big, but it should be exact compared to the idea of how you want to actually live your life. I think that's very important that you do that because then this number here actually has meaning to it. If a person puts down, I just want to be a millionaire or a billionaire or whatever, there's no real meaning behind that. Basically, all they're saying is that I want to earn a lot of money so that I don't have to worry about earning money. That's an incorrect way to make this happen. We have to learn the laws that govern what brings in money, and we have to learn the laws of what governs that brings in success. And we have to understand what we want the money for. That's what's important. So whatever that number is for you, go ahead and write that down. Now the question comes, how do I go from here, my current level of awareness, all the way up to the place that I want to go? Well, if you notice, we're drawing this on a board that tells you that the way to get there is through levels of awareness. In other words, when I'm making $20,000 a year, I'm only aware of how to make this much. It doesn't say that the rest of the money's not there. In fact, it's the opposite. Whatever that number is already here. The money that you want doesn't have to be invented or created. It's already here and it's in the hands of people. That money will come rushing into your life if you become aware how to get it to move from wherever it is now into your life. That's when our awareness increases. Now, this doesn't increase by chance. It doesn't increase by luck. It increases by knowledge and consistent application of that knowledge. Please write that down. It increases by knowledge and consistent application of that knowledge. As you do that, you become aware of how to earn the money that you want, and you will never again be wanting for money because you'll always know how to get it whenever it is that you need it. I think that would be a pretty great skill to actually have. I think everybody should have that skill. Unfortunately, it's not something that's taught. And the reason is because most people are not actually aware of how to bring money in their life. The only thing that's taught to the masses is that you have to go to work and trade time for money. And that's the worst trade that we could possibly make in our life. So how do we do this then? How do we climb this ladder of awareness in order to earn the money that we want? Well, the first thing is to become aware of the fact that you actually want more. Now you might think to yourself, well, David, doesn't everybody want more? Yeah, I think people actually do, but they're not aware of the idea that they can actually get it. That's a different level of awareness. I was out the other day and I happened to overhear a discussion of some people that were having a conversation. And they were talking as if they wanted more money, but all the conversation was about why they couldn't have more money. In other words, they were making statements and giving reasons and excuses for why they couldn't make any more money in their life. They were born poor, they came from the wrong neighborhood, their parents didn't have money, all the wealthy people in the world have money and they don't, and they're not giving it up. And this went on and on and on. And I could overhear this conversation and I was thinking to myself, they have no awareness around the idea that the money is actually there for them, that they can have it. They know that the money's there. Excuse me. They know that they don't have it, but they're not aware that they can actually earn it themselves. And that's where we need to start. The idea of being aware that you can have it yourself. Now, how do you get there? By accepting what I'm telling you. It's the only way to get there. You have to start to believe in something that's not your current belief system, because that will take you out. It's like a roadmap. It's going to take you to a destination that you want to go. So you have to follow that map. Now, there's nothing that's going to hurt you to believe that the money is there for you other than, you might say, well, if I do that, what if it doesn't happen? Well, maybe then you're risking disappointment. But it's not something that will or will not happen. It's something that you make happen when you put all the puzzle pieces together and you actually understand the way that this works. So number one, aware that you can have the money, that it's there and it's there for you. Number two is a decision. So this is one, and I'll mark them down there. Number two is a decision. Now, a decision for what? It is a decision that you're going to earn that money. Now, this is where it gets a little complicated for people, because typically what a person does in this moment is they think about their past. And as they think about their past, they don't have any relative experience where they've made the money before, so their mind goes into how. Well, how is that going to happen? And they don't want to make a decision until they actually know how. Nothing in the universe actually works that way. Everything in the universe that we bring to us, that moves to us, right, is not based on how. It's based on the idea that it's something that we want, something that we desire, something that we need. The whole key to that, where you exercise this amazing power that you have for yourself, is called choice. We just talked about that. Your greatest power is your ability to choose. When you decide, you're taking choice and you're harnessing it into a focus of a direction. You're saying, this I will do. And when you make a decision, it's not like, let's say you decided that you were going to go running every day. And then tomorrow morning you wake up and it's raining outside and you say, well, I'll start Wednesday because it's raining out. I don't want to go today. That's not a decision. That's not a decision at all. That is a wishing or a wanting. That is not really exercising choice with a cutoff line going, this thing I will do, I will not go backwards. That's the kind of decision that needs to be made for this. I'm just being 100% honest with you. I could fluff this up and make everybody believe that they could make a lot of money and put them in a really cool state and feel great emotionally, and it's all going to be complete bullshit, because if you don't know the hard facts about how to actually make these laws work, you'll never do it. And unfortunately, a lot of people teach it from that place, and those people are left wondering how come they don't actually make any money. Awareness, decision. Decision means I'm deciding that I will earn that money. That has to be, right? So then, after you make the decision, you become aware of something. What do you become aware of? You become aware of an opportunity. So I'm going to put AO here as number 3. Now, you think, well, what is that? What is an opportunity? This is a part that you have to seriously understand so you don't miss it, because a lot of people miss this. I almost missed this when I first picked the 20,000 as the goal, or to pick the 40,000, I'm sorry, from the goal to go from 20 to 40. I almost missed this. I did not know that the money that I wanted, that I was deciding that I was going to go after, would show up in some kind of an opportunity in which I had to, number 1, notice, and number 2, say yes that I was actually going to step into. And this is where it gets weird, because what do we want? We want the money. So we're looking for something that will just give us the money. But that's not how the universe works. The universe works by very strict laws. And one of the laws is the law of sacrifice. That means you have to give up something of a lower nature in order to gain something of a higher nature. You cannot get something in this world for nothing. So if a person doesn't know how to do this, maybe it starts off with an education. Maybe it starts off with getting a coach or a mentor. Maybe it starts off like by doing exactly what you're doing now, and you're watching and you're attempting to learn something different. Whatever it is that you're doing, it's going to show up an opportunity that you have to say yes to. So let's put that down. Let's put that right here. Yes. You must say yes to the opportunity that has the potential to get you where you want to go. Now, you have to be, this I can't do for you. Only you can do this part. What do you need to learn in order to be able to earn the money? As far as the skill set goes, what do you learn? Do you already have a business and you understand sales, you understand marketing, you understand products and service? Do you understand how to make that work? If you do, then you're probably further ahead of somebody that doesn't, right? But that's not the only way that money moves. So you have to ask yourself, what do I currently know and what don't I know? So that I can recognize the opportunity when it shows up. Just in total transparency, when I did this, I drove a forklift on a dock for a food distributor, okay? I didn't have a whole lot of skills. I could drive a forklift and I could drive a truck. I had no other developed skills. I had no education. I quit high school. Yet the money still showed up in the form of an opportunity, but it was an opportunity that, yes, I was trading time for money, but it paid more. And it paid a lot more. It paid so much more that I went right past the 40 and I went straight to 62,000 per year. 62,000, but I had to recognize the opportunity, and it showed up in a way that was very unexpected to me. I had no idea what this opportunity was that was showing up until I investigated it. And luckily for me, as I investigated it, I said to myself, I'm going to take a chance on doing this. I'm going to step into this, and I'm going to give myself a chance to actually get out of this situation and make something better for my life. That was number 3. You must say yes to the opportunity. It may even cost you money. I'm going to tell you that right up front. After I did this for the first time, I got so fascinated with how fast money could come into your life. I mean, I had no education. I had no skills around making money, and I still tripled my income in a month. I got so fascinated with that, I thought, I'm going to spend the rest of my life learning how this actually works. Because if I could understand how that works, not only could I create any life that I want, which I've done in a most amazing way, but I've also spent the rest of my life teaching other people how to do the same thing. And that gives me the most deep fulfillment that I've ever had doing anything in my life. I absolutely love teaching this to people so that they can get out of the bondage and break out of how they're stuck in their life. So in order to do that, I had to educate myself. In order to educate myself, I had to pay to buy books. I had to pay to buy recordings. I had to pay to go to seminars. I had to pay to get a mentor. And I really worked at it for a long period of time. But it was an education that I would have never gotten going to traditional school in any way, because I was working with and learning from people that were miles ahead of where I was. And they didn't teach me a bunch of crap that I didn't need to know. They taught me the things that were going to make a difference in my life, in the real world, and will do it fast. I went from 62,000 to over 1 million in an extremely short period of time relative to what I was doing before. And that's because I was working with people that knew how to do it. And they transferred that belief and that knowledge to me so that I could actually do it. Now, so it's awareness, decision. We're going to become aware of an opportunity. The next part is change. We have to change. The change means I'm going to start behaving differently. I'm going to step into the opportunity and I'm going to begin to adapt to the change that I must make. So adapt is the next one, right? So this is 4, change is 4, 5 is adapt. What is adapt? Adapt means that I have to learn how to be, do, and have different things in order for me to grow. Be, do, and have. So let's write that down. Be, do, and have. And again, the key here is that we're saying yes to these things. Just give you a rough idea of how I went about this. Okay, it doesn't mean that you're going to go about it the same way. This is different based on what your situation is. So I was working. I lived 100 miles away from where I worked. What I did back in the day was I got books on tape, I got seminars on tape, I got biographies on tape, I got rid of all the music in my car, and I used that 100-mile drive one way to work and home to listen, to educate myself. I was being something different. I was doing something different. I was having something in my life, an influence. I was allowing other great teachers to influence me in every moment, free time that I had during the day, so that I could actually learn to grow. So it is change, adapt to that change that you're making, and when you adapt to it, the next step in the final stage is grow. That's number 6. As you grow, you move to the next level of awareness. You move to the next level of awareness. Awareness is I'm becoming aware of something I wasn't aware of before. When I first started, I became aware that I wanted to change and that I could, and I became aware of making a decision. Bam, I did that. What happened? An opportunity showed up. I recognized the opportunity as a possibility to get me to a different place. I said yes to it. As I said yes to that opportunity, I began to change, right? Just saying yes was a change. I began to change, and then I adapted to that change, and as I adapted to that change, I began to grow. All success from this moment in your life on will follow this cycle, no matter what you do. Even if you didn't know what you were doing, you follow this cycle. All success follows this cycle. It's awareness, decision, awareness of opportunity, change, adapt, grow. And you do this all the way until you actually get to the goal that you want for yourself. After you do it a few times with the conscious awareness of what you're doing, it starts to become easy because you're ingraining it into your mind. And what happens then is really astounding, because now you have the awareness to actually see success in your life. Right? You see it around you. You see it when you look at things. You'll notice when you see something's an opportunity and when something isn't an opportunity. It's interesting to try to explain this awareness, right? So let me give you another example. If you were to walk through a library, one of the things that you would be aware of is the thousands of books that surrounded you on shelves. And you would know that there's all kinds of knowledge in those books that you don't know. And you would also be aware that if you knew that knowledge, it would open the door for you in many different areas of your life with basically all the knowledge that there is, right? So you know that. Why? Because you're aware of that. You're aware of what knowledge is. You're aware of what books are. You're aware of what a library is. You're aware of where to find this knowledge. If you took and walked a dog through the library, the dog would know that it's with you. The dog would know that it's in some kind of a building. But the dog would be completely unaware of what a book is, let alone the knowledge and what that knowledge could do. Because the dog does not have the awareness to be able to consciously think about what's around it. Now, what's unfortunate for a lot of people is that if they were not given the knowledge that I just explained to you, very simple, and it didn't become part of the way that they think, right? If you go all the way back to the first recording that we did in this series, and we talked about the way that you think, right? The subconscious tells the conscious mind how to think about what it's experiencing. If you weren't given that knowledge, the only way that you see your world is by what you were exposed to in the past and the meanings that were given to it. Let's move forward here. So there's two laws that I want to run through really quick that apply to what we did. So there's 7 basic laws, but there's 2 that you need to know right now. The first one is cause and effect, okay? Cause and effect is very simple. It means everything in this world, everything in this universe that you experience is an effect, and it has a cause. If you want to reproduce the effect, you have to understand what the cause is. And then you have to be able to consistently produce that cause in your life, and you will always, 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 always create the effect. That's an absolute law, right? Think about gravity. We don't, like if you step off a curve, it's not like, well, sometimes you go down. Every time you step off the curve, you go down, right? And you don't ever think to yourself, well, what if I don't go down? What if I go up? That is an absolute law in the world that we live in, right? It's called gravity. It's a law. Everything that's lighter than air goes to the center of the earth. It moves down in a downward motion. Everything that is fashioned with human hands, every thought, every idea, every single thing that we experience is an effect of something else. Money and success are all effects, and every one of them has a cause. There's nothing mysterious about it. There's nothing magical about it. There's nothing that's superstitious about it, and there's definitely nothing that is lucky about it. When you hear people relate to their success and they say it was a bit of luck, no, it's not. We can look at, with an exact accuracy of how a person was thinking and what they were doing and trace all the success in their life. And then the second law is what we call the law of polarity. The law of polarity is a very interesting law, and it applies to, again, absolutely everything in the universe. And basically what it says is this, that everything in the universe has an opposite and it's equal an opposite, right? So if I hold up my book here, right, it has a top and a bottom, it has a left and a right, it has an inside and an outside, and the thing about all of these different sides that it has, these different opposite sides, is that they're all connected. Now I want you to remember this. They're all connected. Why is that important? Well, because everything in the universe operates by the law of polarity, and if you're looking at anything, it's connected. It's not just with tangible things. Remember, the physical is a manifestation of the non-physical. So let's think about this now. Everything starts off as an idea. Everything in the universe starts off as an idea. The idea of polarity has to exist in the thought process and the knowledge of the universe if it's going to exist in the physical. So even non-physical things have 2 sides to them, right? So how does that impact your life? Well, let's talk about money for a moment, okay? What did we say about money that's important? Money is an effect. It's not a cause. It's an effect. And if you don't have money, if you find yourself over here and you have, we're going to use the negative sign as not having money, when you say that, what are you describing? Well, you're basically saying that in my physical presence, I have no money. But that's also a perception of the only thing that you can see at the time, because you were taught to look for money only in paper dollars or a credit card or something like that. That is your current understanding of money. But see, that's not the only understanding that there is. At the same time, money shows up every single time in what? Well, we just said in opportunity. And opportunity is around you all the time. The problem is that you haven't been trained to recognize opportunity. When you train yourself to recognize opportunity, every time you say to yourself, I don't have money, at the exact same time, you'll say the money is there. Because I now understand where the money is and how it comes into my life. And that's with everything. You could have mountains of debt. You could have all kinds of mistakes and failure in the past. When you apply it to the law of polarity, the opposite side of what you want is always there. You could use this for bad and good. You could use this for right. Or let's be over here. Right and wrong. You could do it with have and have not. All of this exists at the same place and the same time. It's that your human computer, if it's not trained, it can only see one thing. It doesn't see the other thing. It is something that's not in your awareness. So when we think about it, it creates complications in our mind. Like, if it's there, I should be able to see it. Not everything is designed for us to see in order for it to be there. That's where awareness comes in. If you're aware that the opportunity is there, you then tell your mind through making a decision what it is that you need to see in order to determine where the money is. But I promise you, every dollar that you could need, want, or desire in your life is as close to you as your breath, but you have to understand where it is that you're going to see it. You want to remember this law. It's very easy. It's very simple. Burn it into your mind and start learning how to think based on this law. You say, well, how do you do that? You remember this. When you don't have something, you do have it. And when you do have something, you don't. Start looking. Train yourself to see the opposites of things. And yes, start with something simple as a physical object, because what you're doing is you're telling your mind to see both sides. In order to do this effectively, you have to be able to see both sides. But if you're not trained to see both sides, you only see one side. And when it comes to human relations, usually we see things emotionally, so we're only seeing the side that resonates with us on an emotional basis. This law will start to open up the doors that you need to be able to see every opportunity that'll bring money into your life. And I'm going to tell you something else. You don't need any education. You don't need any formal education. I never had any formal education. And I've made millions and millions of dollars over the years in my life, primarily because I became aware of this law. I did it kind of on accident the first time that I did it, and then I went and studied to figure out what I did. And when I learned how to do it, then I knew where to look for the money. I learned how to consciously manifest that money in my life, how to actually make a choice to do this. You follow this law, and it will always lead you to the thing that you desire, because as I read this when we started, let me just share this one more time with you before we wrap this up. And really, this book is it needs to be part of your library. It totally does. True desire represents the urge of life, seeking a fuller expression, and it's kept alive by the continuous expectation of its fulfillment. It brings to us the ways and the means for its manifestation. The principle explains that no desire can be felt unless the supply is ready to appear. If you know that you need something, you've got a desire for it. You can't feel that. You can't have even that little bit of awareness without the thing that you need being there. That always comes first. All I'm suggesting is that you expand it so that you can be totally aware of everything else that you want and start looking for, where is it that I go? What do I have to be, do, and have in order to manifest that in my life? I want to thank you very much. This has been another episode of Building the Business of Your Dreams, our summer series. Thank you for watching.